You know, it's always fun when you have two stories that kind of converge into one another. Last week, we had two major stories that apparently over the weekend decided to join forces. And here they are. Last week, we got the transcript of the testimony from former White House lawyer Don McGahn, where he said, yeah, Donald Trump did want me to fire Mueller. Yes, there was some obstruction of justice, and we know that, and Trump instructed me to lie about this. So that was one big story. The other big story that came out about a day and a half later was the fact that Donald Trump's Department of Justice had been weaponized to spy on his political enemies, Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, and pretty much their entire family trees. Well, over the weekend, those two stories, as I said, converged. And we now know that the Department of Justice also was apparently spying on Don McGahn. Don McGahn and his wife, by the way, were among the individuals who recently were informed that their data from Apple had in fact been subpoenaed. The metadata, the call records, all of that for the guy that was helping Donald Trump navigate the Mueller investigation. Interesting turn of events, right? And as we found out last week from McGahn, well, actually, before I even say that, let me say this. Under ordinary circumstances, it would be plausible that perhaps they were spying on McGahn as part of the Mueller probe, to find out what exactly was going on. But now that we know that Donald Trump instructed McGahn to lie and obstruct justice, told him to do this, now I am leaning more towards Donald Trump wanted them to keep tabs on McGahn to see if he was going to tell anybody that Donald Trump instructed him to lie. And again, I don't know for sure that that's what took place, but based on the available evidence, based on McGahn's testimony that came out last week, that now seems like the most plausible explanation for this. I wouldn't put it past the DOJ. At the time, for most of that, obviously under Jeff Sessions, then again, of course, under Bill Barr, Rod Rosenstein also involved in this. All three men, by the way, over this past weekend denied any knowledge of this program whatsoever. Like, I didn't know. We're not spying on these people. That's news to me. Oh, my God. No, they're all three lying. They're all three absolute ridiculous liars. But now we need even more answers, right? Because it doesn't seem likely that Schiff and Swalwell, two Democrats, very ardently suggesting Donald Trump broke the law. And then McGahn, the guy who didn't want to break the law for Trump, but Trump told him to break the law. That's not a coincidence. That is absolutely not a coincidence that these three individuals, and I'm assuming at this point there has to be many, many more. It's not coincidence that these three were targeted. They were targeted because they were threats. Schiff and Swalwell because they were pushing the fact that Donald Trump had broken the law. But McGahn because Trump had literally told him to break the law. And so he knew too much. This story is far from over, folks. We need more. We need more than just, Barr and Sessions and Rosenstein coming and testifying before Congress. We need a full-scale, full-fledged investigation into what took place. And Merrick Garland, the Attorney General now under Joe Biden, needs to make this the priority. Because again, it's not just these individuals either. Trump was also spying on his political enemies in the press. All of these people that we now know were being surveilled or had their data turned over, they all somehow, some way, had run afoul of Donald Trump. And as I said, that's not a coincidence. Thanks for watching. And if you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for fresh content every single day of the week. Just smash that subscribe button. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, and share the video.